Welcome to Ashes of Creation, where the game never loads and your textures are washed out. At least, if you've come to this video, that might be the case for you. And it was definitely the case for me, and I was in that boat. So I want to give you some simple troubleshooting steps that I took to finally get logged in and fix the texture loading issues. Now, my fatal mistake, which might be affecting some of you right now, is putting the game on an HDD instead of an SSD. And if you didn't know, an HDD refers to a magnetic drive, and so those are the ones that are a little bit bigger and they're the older kind of hard drives. And then SSD are the solid state drives, and those are the ones that are smaller than a stick of RAM. Those are M.2s and your SATA SSDs. Do not put your game on those HDDs. That is not good. This prevented me from loading meshes correctly, so I often got this low definition graphics or textures on my characters. Another thing it did was it prevented me from loading into the game altogether, which was soul crushing. I mean, it would sometimes work, but not after hours of trying. So I honestly thought it was my crappy connection because I got 190 ms, which is internet on a good day for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not cheap. I got a 1 gigabits per second, which is the best my island has to offer, but I just live very, very far away from the servers. By the way, 1 gigabits is the best we have, and we just got that like 3 months ago. We were like at 100 megabits like a couple months ago, 3 months ago. Anyways, I'll link my first video on Ashes in the description so you could see some of the problems that I was running into. In the character creator, the races weren't loading, even heads and hands weren't loading, and textures were taking too long to load, or the asset on an asset or a character. More importantly, I was stuck in a loading screen of death, and it would just constantly loop and get to 100 or 99%, and then it would just start loading again. I cut that part out of the video, but you can see the sigh of relief when I finally get back into the game and just happy to play the game. But that was luck, and the problem persisted, and it didn't really get fixed until I moved my files from my hard drive, my HDD, to my solid state drive. So the odd thing is I haven't experienced this in any other games when your hard drive is, or your HDD is, preventing you from logging in or having your textures display correctly. The texture thing, I thought it was a DLSS issue, so I put it on balance, but it didn't fix anything. There's so many things that could have been affecting it, but I didn't think it was the hard drive. It must be something in the way they optimize it to offset some of that load back onto your PC instead of the servers. All I know for sure is that I can log in every time now, and I no longer get the texture issues, which is much better. Now, some of the things I did that might fix your game if you have a different problem is verifying the game files on Steam. And you can do this by opening up your Steam library, right-clicking on Ashes of Creation and going into Properties, then click on Installed Files, and then click on Verify Integrity of Game Files. Now, this should run for about like 2 to 5 minutes depending on where your game's at, which, remember, don't put this on a HDD or it's going to take forever. This should be on a solid state drive. This game only likes solid state drives. But after it's done, it should give you a report if it fixed one file. And it's always a good feeling to see that it fixed a couple files and then your game works right afterwards. But this has helped me many times in the past for games like Skyrim or other games that had corruption issue, missed patch files, or even mysterious I didn't know what was wrong with the game files problem. And if you didn't know, you can cut and paste your game folder into a different drive, which is what I did. I wasn't going to re-download it. But once you put the game on a different hard drive, you can actually click on the game in Steam and it should say verification of files. And if it doesn't say that and it says downloading instead, you'll have to verify that it's on the wrong drive first. Make sure it's on the wrong drive because it's an important step, because you don't want to uninstall a good installation. It might just be updating. But if it's still on the wrong drive, stop the update and then uninstall the game and then reinstall the game, but choose the new folder that you pasted Ashes on this time, and it should verify the files correctly now. This didn't work for me, but it's an easy troubleshooting step that you can try that takes about 5 to 10 minutes depending on your PC or SSD CPU combo. It seems like the dev assumed that everyone's playing on an SSD in 2025, which should probably be the case, but I got thousands of games on Steam and I install a lot of them even though I don't have any time to play them. So another thing I tried was managing my exceptions on my antivirus software. So I allowed Ashes of Creation game folder in my exception list. And to do this on Bitdefender, you'll actually go to the bottom right of your screen and then open up Bitdefender and then click on Protection and then click on Open over here where antivirus is, and then go into the settings submenu and then click on manage exceptions. And then in manage exceptions, you'll click on add an exception and then paste the game folder over here in exception options and then save it. And if you don't know how to get to your Ashes of Creation folder, you can just go into your Steam library, right click on Ashes of Creation. You can either go to manage and click on browse local files, or you can go into properties. Then in the installed files, you'll have the folder location here at the top that you can browse. Once you get that address up here, you can copy it and then put it into your Bitdefender by pressing Ctrl V and then save it. Now that's the process for Bitdefender, and it's probably going to change 100 times over the years, and it's going to be different for your antivirus, but the concept's still the same. You're finding the manage exceptions on your antivirus and allowing Ashes of Creation's game folder as an exception. Now the last thing I did was turning off my VPN, and you should be able to add your Ashes of Creation folder as an exception in the VPN, just like you did with an antivirus. But it's easier just to turn off the VPN for about an hour, just to see if it's the thing that's preventing you from logging in. So that's easy to do. And if you have a VPN, you should know how to turn it off for a second. And if you don't, ask ChatGPT and it'll give you the exact steps. So those are some of my steps that you can try to fix this game if you can't log in. But the biggest, most non-obvious thing was swapping my files over to my SSD. That fixed it for me. That was definitely the fix, because that's when it was easy to log in and my textures loaded every time. So that's not something that normally prevents you from logging in a game, especially an MMORPG. And it's definitely a first for me. So if you have Ashes on an old school HDD, swap it over to your SSD now. And if you don't have an SSD, what are you doing? Go get one. Also, don't download it. Just cut and paste it into a new folder on your SSD, like the steps I mentioned earlier. Again, you could try other things like temporarily disabling your VPN and adding Ashes to your exceptions using manage exceptions. This will allow the virus checker to allow your anti-cheat software to do its thing. The anti-cheat gathers information on you, so it's common for antiviruses, and there's usually a lot of false positives when a game is new, so it just makes sense to put it in exceptions. I mean, over time, this shouldn't be the case when there's a little bit more history that Ashes of Creation is actually a thing. And then there's the verification of game files, and this is the broadest sweeping fix for most people, and even the most random issues will be fixed. It's easy, low-hanging fruit that you can just kind of troubleshoot, scan your files, and go get a coffee or something while it does it. Well, that's my troubleshooting steps to stop the textures from not loading, and more importantly, get you back in the game. If you're stuck in these loop of death loading screens, then you definitely have to do this. You definitely have to move your files onto a solid state drive, an SSD. I actually didn't plan on this being a troubleshooting video, but I had a hell of a time getting in. I couldn't play for days, and I was just stuck for hours just trying to get in, and it really made me rage a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of bitter a little bit. So if I could just help at least one person with this video, it would have been worth my time to make it. Hopefully this video helps you out, and definitely let me know in the comments if any of these fixes work for you. Also, I'm curious to know that if any of you had other problems that you were able to troubleshoot and what you did. Can you put that in the comments just for everyone else, just because it's an alpha, so there's going to be a lot of things right now. They're going to need workarounds, and it would be good to know. Also, definitely like the video if you found some value in it or if it helped you out. But that's all I had, and if you were one of the people that were affected by this, welcome to Ashes of Creation, and also I hope you have fun playing the game and starting your new character.